Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Fox98 here. Welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today, it's been a while since we've actually updated you guys on this, but if you guys don't know what this video is, or don't even know what this series is, if you are new to the channel, this is the next episode of my development diary for Gunderdome, which is the game project that I'm currently working on, and is getting closer to its final submission, which is in about 2 months' time. So tough stuff, and if you're wondering why I keep looking towards my left, is because there's F1 testing on my tablet, and I'm trying to keep track of it at the same time. But I'm not going to get too distracted. Anyway, so the last time that I showed you guys what I was up to, I've basically been creating these AI wolves. Now, if you don't know anything about the Gunderdome itself, I'll briefly go over it. So basically, in university, I am studying computer games design, and I'm currently creating a game which I'm looking to then eventually release to the public, e.g. you guys, for you guys to play. And we're currently just smashing through it. So the story of the thing so far is we've been working with this test level, where we've been showing how we've made some health pickups. We've been looking at item spawners. We've been having a look at the different types of AIs that we have at the moment. And so forth. And what we've got here is we've actually got the updated AI droid. Now, of course, this was the original droid that we had, so it was a ball, and it had 2 little turrets on the side, and it would basically just shoot projectiles at you. That's now changed, and we now have this AI droid here, which once again has got droid turrets, but it's basically got like an inner surface to it. A little bit of a ball there to sort of let the turret go up and downwards with. And then we've got a nice little sort of semicircle thing with a nice rounded little, sort of like a tank track for it to basically side scroll through across. And what we've been looking at was these wolves and how I'd been making them and how they would go ahead and basically just attack the AI constantly all the time, and they'd be there for you. That's where we were last time. It's been a very long time since we've been updating you on this, mainly just because I've just been so busy that I just completely forgot about it. But we're now here and we can start going for things. And you can already see that there's a giant building behind me, because this obviously is the test level that we've been running at the moment. Like, I've been showing you what it's like to go around and test the level out. But during the outskirts of the time period, I've actually been working on 4 different levels. I've got one that's over there, we've got one that's over there, we've got one that's right by here, and then we've got one that's all the way down there. There is a lot that has changed within this level, and I'm going to go for it with you guys. And I'm going to start off by showcasing the ones that are the least complete, and then I will show you the ones that are complete and go from there. So, first of all, this is one area of the level. Now, with this level, these are all, the 1, 2, 3, 4, these are all going to be within the same level. Basically, to get to each location, you're going to be teleporting from location to location. This is the first place, which is not yet complete, and the purpose of this specific section is this is very much similar to like a bank vault style of look to it. Basically, there's a lot of scenes that you tend to get where you go to these specific places in films, and all of a sudden you see this massive, like, crazy thing, and you see like this, you know, special light bridge that everybody goes across to the end of it, and then there's like this really cool thing, and you know, you've got all this steam and smoke, and then everything down the bottom is just like a never-ending drop. That is pretty much what this place is. Of course, all of this is sci-fi related, so the purpose of this is a case of you have teleported into a location where you sort of weren't really meant to be there, and you sort of like found it, and it's quite exotic in a way. So that's pretty much what this level is yet. I can't really explain it too much for you guys because, like I said, it hasn't been developed yet. I've been focusing on developing the other areas first, which I'll showcase for you. But eventually down the line, obviously, there'll be a bit more expansion towards this section. It's quite bland, and it is just bland. It is just white boxed out. And then eventually there'll be a button to activate this light bridge, and then you can go across it, and you'll be able to teleport to the other side then. So there'll be some reasons towards being here. But this is kind of where it's at for now. So yeah, and this is another light bridge by here, mainly due to just testing purposes. Although it may be that we may actually, the only other thing that I was potentially considering expanding out was sort of where we've got by here was having like a little bridge, and you've got 2 little light bridge sections just going across, just to try and add a little bit of a feel to it. So that's kind of where we're at with this for that one. I'm now going to go over to the second most developed area out of all of them, and we're going to go over to here, which is the control room. With this being a sci-fi feel, this is going to be a space-style control room, and I have been currently developing this at the moment. It's actually the room that I'm currently in full working force with. I'm trying to develop this room as best as possible. In today's episode, as you can clearly tell, I'm going to be going through all the courses of level design because this is exactly what it is. There is a set of assets that we have got here, which I'll showcase for you now. So you've got all these things here, and how level design basically works in a nutshell is you've got all these assets and you just put them in and you make them work. So for an example, like this ceiling by here, this is one little piece of a ceiling. So you can see here, if I click on it, this is just one thing, and you've got hanger ceiling parts, and it's placed here. You can obviously move it around. You can go left, right, everything like that, and you can put it in different locations. And eventually, as you can see, I have then placed all these hanger ceilings in one by one, and as you can see, they go all the way across to the very end. Again, we've got some pillars in here, so we've got some wall frames, so they go in there, and it's the same thing. You've got some railings. You want to put them in. That's not, I haven't even highlighted the railings. So you've got the railings, and you just put them in. That is basically the concept of level design in a very short and simple term. You basically have all these assets, and you just put them in, and you just make the room work with what you have. And again, we've got some staircases, so I've combined two staircases together. And as you can see, if I just go across, as there's an issue in testing, which I'm not really bothered about, you can see that there's two staircases, and they've just been aligned as perfectly as possible to work from that. And as you can see by here is the teleporter that I'm currently working with. And this is pretty much how it is set to go. Now this giant sphere by here is actually hidden in game. When I go into the game itself, I'll show you what it is. But basically this sphere here, you can see that we've got two random little holographic jets that are hovering around the outside. If I sort of just weave my way into the sphere, there is a orange holographic planet. Now the reason for having this sphere in the first place is you'll see in game when I play it through that these jets actually spin around in circles, and it basically tracks as some form of like a radar system. Out here, this giant ball, which is just too far away, to be honest, I don't know why it's that far away, is a planet. So eventually, when I've got the time and I've got everything sorted for that, it is going to be a planet. So it's basically a case of this planet, which is underneath here, which is being tracked in the control room, is, well, it's straight out in front of you. And eventually all the outsides are going to be space setting. So you're basically in a space station is kind of where we're going with this one. And then as you can see, we've got a bunch of lights. And once again, these are all assets that are put in place. And it's basically to give some light towards the room. Because when you build the lighting, when you create a room, and you sort of give yourself like a box, as soon as you build the lighting, it will be pitch black. So this room was pitch black. It's now lit up slightly more because obviously I've gone ahead and fitted all of the lights in place. However, there's still a lot more lighting work to be done, so it's not yet complete. I'm probably going to end up putting some lights on these walls, probably in this little slot by here. So if I get one of my lights now for you guys, and I can show you what I mean by all of that. I need my lights. For an example, I've got like a tunnel light by here. We'll use this one for now. This will do. So you can see, I'll probably like spin it down 120 degrees. And as you can see, this is basically how a level design concept works. So you just sort of, I could do is slowing down the speed of my camera actually, just so I know what I'm doing. So as you can see, you've got the little gap in the wall there. So I'm going to lower that down, and there we go. So it's pretty much in place. I'm just going to raise it up a tiny bit. That'll do. And then you just sort of creep it in a little bit. And there, right there, we'll move it across. And boom, that is like a form of level design right there. It sounds very, very simple. It's very time consuming. That's the one thing with level design that if anyone ever has worked on a game before, you will know full well how time consuming it is. And it can be the case. Now the actual corner is up here. So I'm going to raise this up, and then we're going to move it across. And as you can see, bada bing, bada boom, there is the corner there. So eventually then, in terms of like the lights, as soon as you're happy with where it's placed, it is kind of a simple process of just, you know, Control C, Control V, as you would normally do. And eventually then you'll start lighting up the areas that you really want to. I've just messed that up by carrying 2 arrows across. And then eventually, you know, you'll start getting that light in place. And eventually you can see here now that this is eligible of lighting up the corner here. In fact, what I'll probably end up doing later down the line is actually sticking it on this instead. Because if I raised it up and then moved it across slightly, I am going to be able to get a little bit more extra light just to come out of it and to actually expose different areas. But as you can see here now, not only is the wall lit up, but also we've got this corner up here lit up. So it means that this entire row is eventually going to be lit up. And that is pretty much how a level design style kind of works. It is in that fashion. So this is the control room. So eventually, obviously, you're going to start by being teleported by here. You're going to then go up the staircase. and then obviously you'll be in this midst of the room. You can obviously have you'll be able to battle all of the enemies that come at you in this room, and then eventually if you do want to get out of here, you can go up the stairs, you can get into this teleporter, and you can get out of there. This third room that we're going to showcase is going to be the tunnels, which is all the way over here. So let's just ramp this up to 10 so I can get here nice and quickly. This is the tunnels. This is the very tight, twisty, and complex section of the entire level. It is the level which is the most tough place. So this is the tunnel section itself. So again, the players are going to be teleported right by here where this little thing is. This is called a target point. Now, target point basically allows you to specifically set where you're going to teleport. So I think it's in my teleporter thing right here. If I can get it up for you guys, it's a little bit more complicated than you probably think. But there's somewhere in... Oh, I know where it is. You can see it right here. So when you're teleporting, obviously it's casting to my player. And as you can see, I have set it so it sets on the teleportation target point. And it goes through and teleports me to there. So I know exactly where I'm going. And I know where to go from there. In terms of this tunnel section, what's the purpose of it? It's literally just a very creepy hidden tunnel style. There are two different pathways that you can go on. Pathway 1 and Pathway 2. So we're going to go this way for now just to show you guys sort of how the pathway works. There's a lot of left, rights, a lot of difficult corners. All the lights that are on the sides, you can see are just sort of embedded into the wall again. This is all part of the level design process. All these lights here at the top, eventually these are actually going to be lights that are going to flicker, and there's going to be very little of them. I feel like this way it'll just be a bit more eerie, a bit more scary. I've also done some testing with the lights on the sides and have none on the top, and it's bright enough anyway, so it means that I can allow the top lights to flicker. And eventually you can see we go down this long tunnel section. There is an exit, which is obviously this way, but what I'm going to quickly show you is I'm going to quickly go through and show you guys this way. So again, very dark. And I'm going to be playing around a lot with the lights. So this is a specific section where there's no lights on top. And you can see it's honestly not that much different. And obviously we need to make sure that we keep a nice calm balance between having obviously too bright and too dark for a tunnel. You need to make sure that it's bright enough so that the player can easily see where they're going whilst keeping that dark feel to it. So it's still definitely a lot of interesting things to work on from there. And then eventually if I'm just going to skip across because it's easier. Cut in here then. Eventually this is going to be your exit port. And there is obviously a teleporter which you can hit, which will lead you out of here. And that is the tunnel section all done and dusted. So obviously I'm not really doing much development side on the tunnel. Mainly because there's just not really need to at the moment. It's all put in place. And for anyone that's probably sitting there wondering why are all these little random bits just sticking out, of course... Well, for example, that one doesn't need to be sticking out. But the reason these are all sticking out is obviously because these are the walls that are just like put in place to sort of block off all the gaps. And at the end of the day, when people are playing the level, they're not going to be able to, they're not going to see all this. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, there's going to be plenty of blocks that are going to stick out for us. And if you start shrinking it down, it just makes it look a lot more untidy. So really, when it comes to it, you're not really going to see these. So... like you can see there, it's covering the basis of what I need it to. And this section, well, there's a wall here. So there's no chance that you're ever going to see it when you play the game itself. So on that front, there's nothing really that you need to be anyone needs to worry about on that front. And then the final place that we're going to go to is my most developed place. And I've spent Christ knows how long making this. But it is the hangar. And I'm going to start from going up from the top, which is right down this way. And this right here... is the hangar that has been built so far. This is where we're at. Yep, it took its time. It was pretty difficult, but when I say we, I mean me, because this is all my level, of course. My friends are both making their... obviously, this is a project with the three of us. They've both made their own levels. This is just one of my own, so this is all done via myself. Obviously, I've had assets to do this via, I could show it now. It'll send me to random tabs. But basically, on the Epic Games Store, there is a free asset pack. I am going to get it up actually because it's very useful for any of you guys that have got the Unreal Engine. If you don't actually have the Unreal Engine, if you've got a PC at home and you've got an Epic Games thing like you have here, the Unreal Engine is completely free. You can download the Unreal Engine and you can just make anything that you want. I don't know why Solo a Star Wars Story is on here, but that's fine. It's not a problem. But on the marketplace is where we got these assets from. Now, of course, with our game, as I've said before, we don't have any designers, or sorry, we don't have any artists for the game. So with the artists, what they would do is they would go ahead and they would basically design and create all of the assets for us, and then we would take those and then we'd do the design work of that. Unfortunately, because we don't have that, we don't really have that assets piece. In terms of our grade itself, as long as we fully reference where we got the assets from, we're doing our job. We are taking assets and we are putting it into a well-organized game. So on that front, it's perfectly fine. Now, the asset pack that I've been using is this one. It's called the Sci-Fi Kit Bash Level Builder. Now, genuinely, if you are looking to get into just like creating something and it's like a sci-fi feel to it, this is definitely something to take a look at. And it's obviously this marketplace. You can go through, you can have a look in the marketplace, and it's not just this that you can purchase as well. Like, there's a load of things you can see here. Like, you've got a sci-fi sound pack, you know, you've got a modern footbridge that you can buy, and you can put it all in place. You've got first-person shooter kits. Now, there's a lot of things that are going to be priced, so there's going to be a lot of people that are going to start charging you for purchasing their assets. But there's going to be a lot of things that you can see here that are free. So, for example, a game that Epic Games did actually make beforehand is they made a game called Paragon. They eventually cancelled Paragon, but they put every single asset that they created for it on the Epic Games Store, and they put it up for free. So from your end, you could basically remake Paragon, and you can sell it as a game. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. It's eventually when you start making loads of money that Epic Games will start taking some of your revenue, because obviously you've been using their software. And this is kind of it. Like, you've got, you know, a sci-fi hallway, an open world demo collection. So if I go on this one, for example, I didn't want to go on it in the first place, you know. I know why, because it's glitched itself out. That's wonderful. Thanks, Epic Games. I'm trying to show some great examples here, and you're just ruining me life. I'll try it again. Open world demo collection. Can I have it loaded properly, please? There we go. So as you can see, this is what it will show you, and it'll be like, yep, you've got this. These are all the assets that you'll have. So you've got some trees, you've got rocks, and you've got different materials and some textures. And then this is, again, more of your materials. And here's some grass textures. And go ahead and create an open world. This is your chance. And these are some brilliant things that anyone, as a designer, want to be looking at. You've got your rocks. You can start placing them in. And when you've got all your assets in place, this is what you can build. You can build a forest. You know, I could have a forest and then my hangar hidden in a forest. You never know. So, like, there is so much that you can do with it. You just gotta put your mind to it and make sure that you're creative enough for it. And also thanks to everyone that sent friend requests. I haven't actually accepted any, but I have like over 200 friend requests on Epic Games, which is rather funny. But there you go. That's 10 friend requests pending, apparently. I'm pretty sure I do not have 10 friend requests pending. I'm sure there's a lot more than just 10. Yep, there's 269. Just shout out to you guys for sending in friend requests. Just, you know, there's plenty. There's plenty there. Anyway, so that's where that's where it is. And this is the asset pack that I've been using in order to create this itself. So this is obviously, this is my level with someone else's assets, if that makes any form of sense towards you. And it's completely viable to do that. All I have to do is reference that I use this asset pack. And what Epic Games do is every single month as well, is they release specific sets. So you can see we've got a featured free marketplace for February. Now, every single month, in the marketplace, there are a set of assets that are completely free. And for example, this sci-fi level builder costs £80 UK money, as my thing is frozen. £80 UK money to actually purchase. However, because it's now free for February, you've just saved yourself £80. So it's absolutely sensational, the stuff that you can get. Like, you've got a medieval dungeon, you know, you've got a wind control system. If you wanted to get some, if you wanted to do a platformer, some pixel art, you've got some stuff there. You've got particle effects, you've got some different materials that you can use. So much great stuff that you can do, and it's always recommended that you do get this stuff, and I wouldn't look back on it. So what I'm going to do now is in here, so this is the main hangar point that we've got here. We've got a jet which is by here, and the intention is obviously it's going to eventually go up this hangar, and it'll sort of like open out and it sort of flies away. That's like the motif of it. We've got these ceilings put in place again. So we've got some hangar ceilings here that I've been using to sort of create this, and you can see how the sort of like ducks down, and it's sort of like a nice different roof style texture there. We've got a lot of lights. Now, this room was one of the most difficult to make just because of the lighting. Obviously, with it being such a giant room, these railings are here for a reason. That's why they're floating. I've been debating whether to put railings across here or allow the player to jump down. But obviously with the lights, it's very difficult because this is such a big room. Even if I lit up every single outskirt, the central of the world is just, or the central of the map itself is just still extremely dark. And there's still a few places to light up. Like, for example, underneath here, it's still extremely dark in-game. Around here, it's still extremely dark in-game. So there's still a lot of lighting to work on. But there are two pathways that the player can take in and out of here. The first pathway, we'll go up this way, is through a nice little rounded wall tunnel conception, and it's basically just a hallway which leads downwards. Now, of course, I haven't thrown any extra assets in there, so it's sort of just very plain at the moment, and that's kind of what I wanted for now, and then eventually, when it comes to the time, we can then work on that. This second place sends you through here, and this is where obviously all the teleporters are put in place. So we've got a bunch of crates and some other little points in the way, which are basically blocking all these three cables. Now, these three cables, they're all powering a teleporter, and that's why they're all in a specific color because of that. Now, obviously, where's the main generator? Well, you don't know because you can't go any further than this. So it allows us to sort of back away from having to make a giant generator with all this stuff. You can, all the cables just lead under there, and it's a case of what's hidden. Oh no, look, there's nothing. It's all hidden. Would you look at that? Woo. That light needs to be changed as well. So this is the first teleporter, which will obviously send us to the control room. This cable then follows upwards, and we've got another teleporter here, which is going to send us to the vault room, as I like to call it for now. And then we've got the blue cable, which is going to send us down all the way to the teleporter, and we have another light which is broken. Awesome. I'm going to have to reduce its radius to like 500. That won't even do it. 100, that won't even do it. Okay, we'll just put it back up to 1,000 and I'll make a blueprint and sort that out. So yeah, this is where this is at. So, in terms of the level itself, so if I click play now, what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to have lots of firing, lots of shooting from these guys. I am also going to put this into full screen mode for you guys to see. Don't touch it. It really hurts. Now, ignore the motion blur. Obviously, eventually when I find out how to, I'm going to get rid of the motion blur when you obviously turn. So I'm going to try not to turn as much. So obviously, these are the normal, simple AIs that we've seen before. So I'm just going to show you around, basically. It's a little bit stuttery at the moment because I'm in full screen. And these AIs, they still do their own thing. They'll still chase me. And they'll still have some fun with it. We're going to go down these steps here, these nice little corner steps. And again, you can see they'll all follow down. There's no problem with those. I had a lot of problems with that, but up here you can go in towards the jet itself. You can go all the way around the outskirts. The AIs will follow you. Don't recommend it though, because there's not that much space. And if you get caught, ouch, you're going to get hit. And as you can see, I'm already dead at this point, but it's perfectly fine. So these cables here, you can see they actually glow. So they actually give a sort of a glowing effect towards each of their locations. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to attack these AIs if they get away from me. Get away from me. And as you can see there, the AIs, they actually have got also a health system in place. So as you saw there, I shot it a few times, and then a nice little electric explosion came into place, and they were destroyed. Now, don't worry about the idle and aborted at the top of the screen there. Those blue text messages are called print strings. So basically what's happening is there's no AI movement, which is what it's tracking right now. And it says aborted because it's not physically hitting the player. As soon as it hits the player, it would come up with success. That's the only reason for that. So, as you can see, like I said before the AIs were ruining my life, you can see how the little glow pattern, it goes across. It just adds a nice feel to it in each specific section. Now we're going to go and explore each place. So first of all, we'll explore the vault because it's like, well, it's not even that. But you can see there, the teleporter, it sends you through and it sends us to the target point, and we can sort of have a nice little look around and view off the level. In the next week or so, I'm going to be looking to try and get as much of this vault room as I can complete. I'm focusing on the control room. I'm going to be looking to build a planet in the control room, on the outside that is. And then eventually I'm going to be coming over towards this vault room and I'm going to try and get it completed. Obviously there's still a lot of other things that I need to get working as well. But I have no doubts that I can get this control room, this vault room sorted by then and give it some sort of a feel. Eventually you can see then as soon as you teleport back, I actually changed it so that as soon as you teleport back into the control room, you actually come from the hangar itself, which I thought was just kind of like a cool little feature there. So you sort of fall back into the world again, which is something that I liked. And then obviously next up then we're going to go into the control room. So again, you enter from this bottom port here. and then you make your way up into here. So you can already see, like, for example, how dark the room is. So it's critical that the lighting is done right. Even these lights by here, they're not even going to create that much of an effect. So it's really down to just making sure that you put as much effort into lighting as possible. So you can see here that we've actually got a planet Earth, which is obviously going around in a circle, and it's got a very weird set of like shapes to it to give it that holographic feel to it. And as I said, that sphere that you saw originally, that's now hidden within the game, so you can no longer see it. And as you can see, these jets, however, I've kept them in-game, added a rotation, and as you can see, they're now going around in circles. And you can see that the roof is all in place. And eventually, the aim is you'll be able to go over to this frame over here, and you'll be able to see the planet there over in the distance. And you'll be able to, well, just look at it, really. There's nothing else really to it. And you can go on these little podium steps here and just sort of have a look in the outskirts there. With some giant pillars as well by here. It's a very open room, this one. A lot of space and freedom to move around in. And we're going to go back into this hangar, and we're going to drop back onto the floor again. And we're going to continue onwards to the final place, which, of course, is the tunnel. That is the last place that we're going to look at. So as we go through here now, again, we're into the tunnel. And this is what I mean by quite a close quarter thing. If you've got loads of AIs around, you sort of got to be careful on your pathways. Make sure that you don't, like, get attacked all the time. Because it's going to hurt you in the bum. If you do, it's not going to be very nice. Of course, from there, you can go around. And I will go around and show you the second path. Obviously, I've shown it in the view. But it's obviously nice to see it in-game as well. So you can see here how much darker it feels on this side. It just adds to it a little bit. And it's not too dark as well. It's not a case of you physically cannot see. Like, you will be able to see the AIs. There's no, like, issues on that front. And then as you can see, I'm going to go back around and I'm going to go back into the teleporter now. And I'm going to send itself off there. And eventually, we will move on. Probably wrapping up this development diary, to be honest. Level design is a lot easier to explain. As you can see, a little bit of space then for you to work in. You can sort of do something in here. This is probably going to be sort of like a secret little room, like a control room that no one really understood was meant to be here. So again, I'll probably end up putting a holographic base on like a rounded table. This by here, I'm probably going to end up having as a giant, like a two-sided double concrete sliding door. That'd be kind of cool to have. Or maybe sort of like open, it sort of comes towards you and then opens out. So for example, if I had a wall here and then here, it sort of moves, say, towards here. And then it pushes itself out on both sides. And it allows you to come through and be like, oh, so this is where everything was. And then obviously there is one final teleporter, which you have, which can send us back, and we'll drop back into the level again, and we carry on as per we were. But this is pretty much where we're at the moment. There has been a massive amount of changes ever since we were here. But obviously, when it comes to showcasing this, it's a lot easier to explain because it is just level design. It's like if you've played Halo and you've played the Forge mode, it's just building a level, or it's like the Doom editor. There's a lot of things to do with it. But this is where we're currently at with the moment with the game itself. There's still plenty of work to do. In terms of the development diaries, they're now going to be very, very frequent. We are getting closer towards submission time, and a lot of work is now getting done. Flat out work. I'm pretty much probably at the working 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night on most days working on this. So I'm doing about 14 hours a day of work on this project, and it's not because I have to, because there's not enough to do. It's because I'm so self-motivated to do this, and I really want to just keep on pushing and keep testing myself to the limits. Like, all of this stuff has literally driven me nuts, and it's fun. That's kind of the thing. It is fun, and it's so when something actually pays off. You go through the stress of creating something, and then obviously it goes from there. So, what are the plans ahead for the game? So we can exit out of this now, because I don't really need to be in there anymore. So this place for me is now done. Like, I don't really need to come to it any further for now. Eventually, yes, I will need to come to it. This specific room by here, I need to start working out something for it. At the moment, it's very pointless, and it needs something extra to it. So I'm going to be having a look at potentially doing some different things with this. What I'm thinking of making this specific section, I am considering expanding, which is funny because I actually initially, where this jet was, where this floor is, I had this floor, a little walkway and 3 teleporters. If I probably won't be able to get it now, but it's changed so much from what it used to be. Like, I literally had this. I could probably even map it out right now. So I had this jet here. I had this little platform here. I then had a nice little, a small little walkway, and then 3 lanes that went off to teleport from location to location. It's gone from that all the way to this, really. And when we come to the very end of the development diary, I'll go through all the pictures and I'll show you just how the game has progressed from start to finish. But this is pretty much where we're at. And obviously I'm going to be doing, like I said, I've already said it, but more frequent development diaries now. Probably, hopefully every Wednesday. If not, it'll be readjusted. But obviously there's going to be a lot of changes, so I want to make sure that you guys are fully up to date with it. And obviously it just helps my overall portfolio when I do stuff. So, hey, it works in both ways. In terms of the future for the head, so like I said, this section here, I'm probably going to expand, and I'm going to probably create it into a much larger room. So I'm going to push this all outwards. And give myself a lot of space with it. I'm probably going to create this into some form of infirmary, I'm kind of thinking. So it allows you, it's a case of you've got this hangar and you sort of go through here, or potentially making it maybe not sort of like a parts thing, but maybe, sorry, not infirmary, but somewhere like an extra parts thing. Probably stack in a load of crates and have them sort of like there, and it's sort of like a little parts section, some cables around as well, some bits of fabric put there, and stuff like that. By next week, what I hopefully will be able to show you guys is the update to the control room. By then, what I plan to have is obviously the control room to be fully lit up properly. I expect to have this to be an actual working planet, and obviously I want to get the space on the outsides done, and obviously the flooring. At the moment, it's just a random stupid cube. Eventually, I want to get a proper flooring in place, and then from there. Next, obviously, from then, we need to start working on this vault room. There's nothing to it. It needs to be developed. And we just keep on pushing, we keep on rolling. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's development diary. It's probably going to be quite a long one. I don't know how long I've been going on for. But that's pretty much where I'm at the moment with regards to building this game. It's a hell of a lot of fun, this project. I'm loving every second of it. And yeah, this is pretty much where we're at. So hopefully I can give you guys some more up-to-date development diaries as we start adding and really starting to piece together the game. Obviously, beforehand, it was just coding and blueprinting and getting some stuff together. There's not really much to showing that. I can't really show what I'm making via that. However, when it comes to putting everything in place, week by week it changes. So I'll be able to show you guys more. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, feel free to drop it a like, subscribe if you're only around here to the channel as well. Tomorrow I'm going to be uploading Budget Builder for Forza, and then on the weekend we're going to be back with F1 challenges and stupid wacky stuff, whatever I get up to in my life, to be honest. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care all. Thanks for watching. Peace.